Hello everyone, Stephen Ward from Word Search Bible Software. How y'all doing? Me? Well, I'm doing pretty good actually. It's a nice day here in Texas. It's all sunny outside and what have you. And it's not as hot as it's been over the last few days, so that helps out like a lot. So I appreciate that, Lord. Thank you. But we're not here to talk about the weather, are we? No, we're here to talk about your use of the main desktop. My desire was to break this down to you in one big video, but I think it's going to be wise to break it down to you in three different videos. So it's going to be me showing some of the major features in the first two, and then talking about in the last one about how they all work as one big concerted effort to help you finalize the sermon. Excuse me. So we've already talked about the Bible, and we've already talked about the word studies, and we've talked about the cross references. So in this training, we want to go a little deeper into actual textual study. I mean, we've been looking at the text, but we haven't asked word search in a very broad terms. What do you have to say about the scripture? What do you have to say about the subject matter? And what else do my books have to say about this text? So I want to walk you through all three of those, and then I'll create another video that's one big video that will kind of put all that together. So the first one we want to explore is going to be the Verse Explorer. It's real simple. Click the icon. It's 3:16. It'll say verses underneath it. If you have not set this up already, then you'll need to go ahead and click here to set it up. This should be set up from the settings that we did, but just in case. You'll need to pick one Bible. You'll need to check all your dictionaries. Just putting a check mark in the box for dictionaries will check them all. No need for word studies. We've already talked about that. Topics. I'm going to hit my minus sign. You need to check off all of the boxes that you can. Same thing for the commentary. Leave no box unchecked. And then make sure your cross references are selected. Once you've done all of that, and I'm assuming that you've already done the work because we did that in the first video, you're going to plug in your scripture verse. So 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3. We're going to say 1 through 3. I recommend no more than 5 verses at a time. Do more than 5, and you're going to be reading a long time. So I don't recommend any more than 5. But you'll plug in what it is you're looking for, the scripture passage, and then you'll click go. Now, when you click go, it's going to use that Bible that you have checked off. That's why you want to make sure that you use your teaching and preaching Bible. It's going to look through the dictionaries, commentaries, and every section that you checked to see if it has something to say about your verse, or if it found something about the words that are inside of the verse itself. So, for instance, it saw the word now in the biblical text. So it's found some dictionaries that contain the word now. It found the word Paul in the biblical text. So it found some dictionaries that had the word Paul in it. It found the word make, personal, appeal, gentleness, graciousness, Christ, and the list just goes on. And I mean, it goes on and on and on. So you can see why you wouldn't ever want more than 5 verses at a time. I mean, if you did more than 5, I just did 3. But if you did 5, can you imagine what that reading list would look like? Now, naturally, we don't want to look up all the words, of course, but you will want to look up and use many of the words that you find. The topics is going to be something similar, except this is where our illustrations are found. It is looking up just like the dictionaries is looking up the word, but it also found some illustrations in this case. I found the Thompson Chain Outline Study Series has something to say on Paul. And then it found Bible characters under a book called Bible Characters. It found something there for Paul. And then the list, of course, as I said before, just goes on. Now, I have more books than you do, and I can say that with confidence because I have, your books, plus anytime anything comes out new, I get it. It's good to work for the company, what can I say? But you'll go down, and so one of the things I said, and I think I said this in a prior video, don't ever compare what I own with what you own. You don't need everything that I own. I have everything so that I can help everybody. But you personally don't need every single book that Word Search makes. Now, it's nice having it. I'll tell you that. But you don't need every single book we make. All right, you need a lot of them to help you do what you're doing, but you don't need every single one. So it's going to, as you see here, it's going to help you find the commentaries that match up to your text. In addition to that, it's also going to find all of the cross-references that are going to help you with your text as well. So these are going to tell you by looking at the phrases and then showing you the verses. So this is pretty easy to use and more than likely pretty easy to understand. But I am going to walk you through an actual Bible study using this tool plus the others. Speaking of the others, the next one up for us to look at is the Topic Explorer. Now, the Topical Explorer is something you've been using for years. If you've been a customer for a long time, or if you've been a customer for 30 days, you've used the Topical Explorer. And it's one of the favorite tools because all you do is type in what you're looking for. We'll say love. And then you hit search. And then it hunts down and finds every single place where someone is talking about love. Now, in my case, I'm only doing what I call a topical study. That's when I'm trying to look up a subject, or I'm trying to find an illustration, or some scripture passages. So it's just a collection that I made called Topical Studies. I can make a collection for you guys. If you want me to show you how I can create a video for it, just email me, text me, call me, and I'll show you how to make a collection. They're not hard to make. You gotta, the only thing hard about a collection is you got to put some thought behind what you're doing. You don't just want to throw a bunch of books randomly together. So there's a method to my madness, and I don't mind sharing that method with you so that you're better educated on making collections that are valuable to your study. So we have the word love. Mine right here is set anywhere in a topic. And by anywhere, I mean it's wherever love shows up. It can be in the middle. It can be at the beginning. It can be anywhere where the word love shows up. Yours should not be set anywhere. It's more than likely set at the beginning, which is much faster, as you can tell. Much faster. And then love will be set here. But this is a setting that you can play with to find what you're looking for. 9 times out of 10, you're going to find it at the beginning of a topic. Because it's going to pull up, the subject love. You only do anywhere in a topic if you didn't find what you were looking for at the beginning of the topic. But again, I have this collection set. It's only 680 books. I have collections that are much larger than that one. Yeah, here's one right here that's 2,231 books. So here's another one for that's 2,619 books. So collections can be as big as you want them to be. They shouldn't necessarily have to be as big as those. I think I created those in a class, but they can be. You click on the plus sign next to the yellow book, and then a page appears underneath the book, and then you click it. If you spent any time with word search, you know this is very familiar to you. I will say this, though the word love is here, it brings up this page just to let you know that somewhere on this page, in this case it's here, but somewhere on this page the word love is being discussed or it's being directly mentioned. So that's pretty cool. Now, that's, you probably already knew how to do that before I said anything to you. So where I want to help you is not on clicking the pages that are underneath the book, but is by recommending to sort it. Instead of sorting by topic, I recommend sorting by location. And the way this helps is if you're searching all your books, and more than likely you're searching all your books, what you want to do is you want to switch the location so that you can just go to the sermon help section so you can get illustrations. Sometimes I'm not interested in what my commentaries have got to say, but I'm really interested in what my devotionals got to say. Sometimes it's not my devotional. Sometimes I'm interested in the theological, some sort of theological understanding for that particular word or subject that I'm looking up. But if you sort sort by location, you're going to get a better listing, a better system of following the books and then using them. You're going to get a much, 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 much better view of your library and how it's using it. So one of the nice things about doing all books is that you do get to see how commentaries or is being organized topically. You're getting to see how devotionals are organized topically. But the thing that really got me was this. Let me see if I can't find them real quick. It just popped into my mind, so I think I'll go ahead and do it for y'all. We're going to do the other books, which is 2,231 books. So we may be sitting here a little while. We're going to see. Well, that didn't take long. I thought it was going to take longer than that. Okay. So what this is going to do for us, so the reason why I brought you here is now I typed in love. Those literatures that are in the biographies in Christian living, it is now taking me to pages. It is now taking me to the page where love is being discussed inside of this book. Here's a whole chapter on love. Conquering the internal mountain of pride. Here it looks like it's talking about obstacles. The miracles of Christian heathenism is that of overcoming obstacles to love by the grace of God. So as we click, you're going to have to look and you're going to have to read. And as you read, you're going to see how love is being presented on that page. So this can take a while. I recommend looking into areas that the Verse Explorer has not explored. Although you can also consider other areas that it has looked at, but I like looking at it inside these literature sections. Those books that sit on the shelf and collect dust, do not collect electronic dust inside of word search. Not when you use the tools to dig through them page by page. You're just going to get so much more out of your study when you use sort by location than if you did by topic. Some prefer by book, but I don't like by book because if I'm looking for illustrations, I still got to look through a list for illustrations. So I don't like it. I like to sort by location and then kind of pick the book that I'm looking for. Now, our last and final tool is the Cross-Reference Explorer. If you've been in with me in a live class, you've heard me say this. And if you've been with me in an online class, you've heard me say this. Do not ever use this tool, this cross-reference tool right here. Do not ever use this tool after 8 o'clock at night. Yeah, you're like, why? Why 8? Well, because if you use it at 8 o'clock at night, you're going to be up to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. This has got to be the most comprehensive tool that exists inside of word search. Clicking the tool, I'm just having it search my sermon helps. What it's doing with that green bar at the bottom is it's flipping every single page of every single book in that 474 book collection. It's finding every place where someone is mentioning Ephesians chapter 6 verse 17. Literally, they're mentioning the passage on the page. So this is just my sermon help section. Look at the books that it found Ephesians chapter 6 verse 17 on. You know, that's a list, but you haven't seen nothing yet. When you start clicking the plus sign and then the blue starts opening up, those blue pages are showing you where it's mentioning your verse. Now, sometimes it's like this, where it's a whole chapter that's being discussed, and you know that because you point to it. It don't just show you the 17th verse; it shows you the whole chapter. But sometimes it's just the individual verse that's being listed. You say, but Stephen, why can't I do this at 8 o'clock at night? Well, it's because of what it's doing. It's grabbing your interest. So these authors have included this verse because it connects to what it is that they are talking about. Right? And they have literally written, like in this case, a whole article on the scripture passage that you're going to be looking at. An entire article. Or maybe it's an illustration, or one of my favorite handbooks on handfuls of purpose. I love this book. But what it's doing is it's finding your verse. So if you're not careful, you'll get caught up in reading a lot of material, and much of it has nothing to do with what you're talking about. And that's what's going to keep you up to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So what I recommend is that when you use it, find your scripture passage and then kind of read the sentence that's included. If you like the sentence, read the paragraph. Because you may find the paragraph fits. If the sentence fits, the paragraph may fit. Once you read the paragraph, stop reading. Do not read what comes before it, and do not read what comes after it. If you do, you're going to end up on a rabbit trail. And what a rabbit trail is, it's a path of study that leads to absolutely nowhere. Real good, you'll learn a lot, but you'll be a lot that has nothing to do with what you're talking about. So avoid the rabbit trail. The only way to avoid the rabbit trail, I've been doing this for 23 years, and I've been using this particular tool in some form or fashion for the last, I don't know, 20 of those years. I'm telling you, take my advice. Read the sentence that contains it. All right? Or I didn't highlight that right. Read the sentence that contains it, or read the paragraph, but stay away from anything that comes before, anything that comes after. You'll see a connection that does not exist in your actual text. So just a word of warning. So as you click through again, you're gonna find passages like this where it's grouped all of the verses together, and then you'll have to kind of scan through, read the sentence, see if it's helpful. If you like the paragraph, you got to kind of scan through the text. At least that's what I do, to see what else it's saying. But if you go through this, you will get a lot more out of your word search program than what you're currently getting. You're not currently getting as much as you could. But if you use this Cross-Reference Explorer every single time you study, I would say you are going to use roughly 90% of your library every single year. 90% of it. You'll never probably use all of your library, but 90% in a given year, you will use the vast majority of the books inside your word search program. So I strongly, strongly, strongly recommend that you take the time and go through and just click on the links and just see what they got to say. Don't spend forever, because if you spend forever clicking on them and going through them, you're gonna be there a while. So don't do any of that. A couple of things that I want to bring to your attention. This tool is a little different from the topic and the verse explorer. Though it's textually centered, it's also synced to all of your other Bibles as well. So when you click a Bible and you move, say, to a different verse, because it's syncing, that's what that one is there with the arrows following one another. It's syncing up to verse 18. So every time you move to a verse, this is always going to move. Some of you are probably like, well, that's why it's been happening. Yeah, that's what's been going on. Every single time you move it. So what I recommend people do is put it on verse 17, if that's what you're studying. Let it finish its search, and then once the search has been completed, click on this icon to unsync it. All right, I'll show you what it looks like here in a second. You just click on it, and it turns it gray. The one goes away. That ensures you that even if you move here, if you move around, or if you're in here and you see another scripture passage, I'm looking for a scripture passage here. You see another scripture passage and you click it, it still won't change your cross-reference Bible. I don't know why you would click another scripture passage, but if you did, it wouldn't actually change the cross-reference Explorer. So make sure you unsync it. Once you've found the scripture passage that you want, unsync it. And you can have as many of these windows open that you want to. You can have, 5 or 6 of these windows open. I don't recommend that. If you're preaching from 2 different texts, one in Ephesians, the other one in 1 Corinthians, then you may want to. Again, I don't think that's necessary. I think you need to study a passage and then move on to another passage. If you're doing expository preaching, you want to put it on one verse that connects all the others together, where some statement is being made. And then whenever word search finds information on that verse, it should also find information on all the other verses that come before it or after it, depending on what verse you're choosing in your selected paragraph. All right, that is how you use those 3 tools, and they're very, very popular. In the last video, we're going to show you how to put all of that together for a complete sermon. So we're going to take all three of those and put them together, and I'm going to show you how you can polish up your expository sermon using those tools. But for this week, for this video, I really want y'all to get familiar using those tools, and I want you to use them every single week. I realize you don't have 10 and 15 hours to sit down in front of a computer, but I'm telling you, if you use those three tools every single time you study, you're going to cut down on the amount of clicking that you're doing. I always tell people, if you're using word search and you follow my principles, I can cut your time down by a third. If you're not using word search, I can cut your time down by half. But if you are using word search, I can cut your time down by a third. But I can't help you if you don't use the tools, because I'm telling you those tools will help you. All right, so in the next video, we're going to walk you through from beginning to ending what a Bible study looks like for expository preaching using the styles and methods that I have given you. All right, if you have any questions, you know what to do. Give me a call, email me, get with me. Let me help you. I realize sometimes as we go through all of this, you're just sometimes it can be a bit much and overwhelming. Sometimes I move and talk a little fast, and you're like, Steve, I may need you to review this for me. Show me again, or at least show it to me within my context. I'll be happy to do that. Just give me a call and let me help you. My information is down here at the bottom. Give me a call and email me. If you're having problems with your program, I'm the wrong one. Call tech support. Some of y'all still call, but call tech support. I'm a novice compared to them over there. I am a lightweight. So let me help you. Just give me a phone call, give me a text message, and I'll be more than happy to help. Thank y'all for watching the video, and we look forward to talking to you later. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.